Hello and welcome to Flory Models Kit Review time. Today we've got the long-awaited de Havilland Mosquito 1/72 by Airfix. Now, if you haven't been following along with this, where have you been? Long-time member and supporter, obviously, of the Flory Models site, Pranjit, is the designer for this one. He works for Airfix, he's one of the designers for the kits, and he's talked us through the entire design phase, if you like, from the research, the CAD, obviously going through the tooling, the mock-ups of it and all the rest of it, right the way through to the finished item. And there's various shows about it, so please just pop back and you can see all of those ones. So it's really nice to actually see it and actually get it in your hands, because obviously you've been looking at pictures of this for years, and to actually get it in your hands now, it's absolutely fantastic. So anyway, here it is. I've got a slightly damaged box, that was us, so don't worry about that. But anyway, a beautiful box art, we said before, very, very inspiring, as you can see down in there. As for the box, to be honest, it's Airfix's normal one, there's not a lot to it. Kit number for this one is, what are we? Is 04023. Is that right? Yep. Again, and then we've got a couple of options down in there. We've sort of got the Night Fighter one, so we've got one from 109 Squadron. In 1944, and we've got number 571 Squadron. Again, very nice as well, 1944. So in the box, which is still sealed, haven't been in here, been very, very good. If I can get in without cutting the box in two. Things got a nice and sharp blade. Okay, so we are greeted by usual thing, probably one bag with it all in there, just like that. We'll look at it in a moment. As always, we'll dive straight into the instructions. So there we go, some of those. Okay, so straight off the bat, straight into it. So usual type of thing for this one. It does have a, we're skipping forward. There we go. It does have a wing spar system, which is something I really, really like. We've seen it with other model kits now and all the rest of it, but it's just that twofold thing. It's structural and at the same time it's alignment. So, you know, it makes the wings nice and strong, and hopefully you get the alignment with the wings all good as well. So that's really nice. So basically for the Bombay, or the fuel tank area, you can actually put the actual ends on of this one for the formers which go through. Again, nice instructions showing you exactly how they go. Putting on the front part as well, so that goes in there like that. Then we got sort of the rear bulkhead through to the cockpit, and then obviously some of the cockpit details being fitted into this one. We got the seats again, so we've got the actual pilot seat and the navigator, a bombardier seat as well. Instrument panel going through, looks like we've got a decal down in here which actually be for that one, and then fitting those in. We've got the control yoke being fitted down into there, so that's pretty standard, and we've got the bomb aimer little station down like that. Over on here we've got the fuel tanks, so the fuel tanks being fitted down into the under section just down in there, and then it's putting it together. We do have a small little bulkhead just in front of the tail wheel as well, so that's going in and making sure that is all sitting down nicely. You should have no problems at all when you come to sandwich it all together. Pretty straightforward. Then we've actually got the access door. It's only in the closed position, but obviously that's your doorway, would be normally into the actual cockpit up from underneath. And then we've got a few little parts going down the bottom here, and on the top we've got the rudder being installed, we've got the tail planes being fitted down into there, and then you're straight over into the gear. The gear's been spoken about quite a lot again, and the way that Pranjit's designed this to be able to be fitted you know, after painting and things like that, which is pretty much unique to this one. So there we go, that's the actual gear system being fitted down into there. We've got that sort of Y-frame that goes between the gear, again sits in there, and then it's all can be fitted in, but it's saying here about not using glue because it's like can be used as a jig. And then obviously we've got the reserve for the tanks onto the backs, and then we've got the wheels, so it looks like we do get a little bit of weighted wheels as well, which is a really nice touch, and then those being fitted down in there. Now again, wingtips being fitted on this one. And then down in here, we've got a very unique system that Pranjit's designed about putting the actual exhausts together and then into this jig, which then sort of fits it all in. And you've got nice little directional arrows. It explains you which way it's facing, so they can be fitted in a nice solid position right in. Again, you've got instructions with arrows to point in which way up and round it goes and all the rest of it. So very nicely done there. Then we're sort of working on the nacelles itself. So again, you've got the various parts going in there. We've got the bits for the spinner for the prop. We've got the intake, and then obviously the lower intake as well being fitted down onto there. Obviously if you're doing it gear up or down, but with nice touch with this one as well, you can have this door which is F34 and use it as a paint mask. So even if like you're not going to be doing it with the gear up, pop that in, paint all that up, pop that in, you can paint the rest of it, and it's instantly done, as you can see just down in here. Again, really very nice touch with this. So because he's got this mask system for it, you've actually got the cutouts, so you don't have to remove the pins. So very nicely done one with that as well. Radiators, again, taking note of the actual arrows to make sure you've got it in the right way round. Okay, wing section being slid onto the wing spars, and now you can drop the gear in at your leisure and just popping it in at the back end, which is another nice way of doing it. Then we've got the doors being fitted on there, we've got the spinners and the props, the various things in there like that, and then you're going to repeat it for the other side. So literally it's just going to be going round, doing exactly the same on the other side as that one goes in, and then you're going to be putting that wing on. Other set of gear can go down in there as well. Same thing about your spinners and props and doors and all the rest of it. So the Bombay itself, again, depending on if you're going to be having it open or closed or what you're going to be having in there as well. So you've got your various options down in here, just like that. Oh, again, making note of the angle of the rear bomb. Just so it fits in there, it's at this slight angle, so it should be a funny angle. Again, it's nice that they've taken the little bit of time to explain that, because otherwise if you're putting it in, you might be thinking, I put it in wrong, it's the wrong angle. It's not, it's supposed to be at the funny angle. Okay, so there we go. Bomb fits, bomb doors, all going in there, open and close to your heart's desire. External fuel tanks, so if you wanted to, you could put the fuel tanks on the outside. I don't think this one has the external bomb loads on this particular version, but other versions have rockets or bombs on there, things like that. Windows as well, so you've obviously got those on there. They can be fitted in there just like that. And then how that opens, I don't know. I'm going to reserve judgment on that. I thought the window could slide back, but it took the frame with it. Don't know. Anyway, so that one's in as well, putting the side windows on. You've got the blister on for the nose, and then obviously the little side windows on there just like that. Tail wheel, obviously depending if you're in flight, gear down, retracted or put forward. Gorgeous markings of the Mozzie. The Mozzie is always one of those aircraft which can be a right pain to try and weather, purely because of its nature. There's no rivets on it, there's no seam lines, it's wood. If you don't know about the Mosquito, after this, go off and YouTube it. There's some fantastic documentaries on there and things like that. And it's called The Wooden Wonder. And if you don't know anything about the Mozzie, you'll be very, very impressed by it. So there we go. Night Fighter type ones there, or a Night Intruder version, I should say. So again, so you've got the sort of the black underside with the camo on the top as well. Okay, so it's doing pathfinding and various things. Really good. I've seen those instructions 100 times. Okay, so into the plastic. So hopefully we're okay. We'll look at clear parts and things like that afterwards, only because I'm itching to get in here. So the first thing is, have I got a short shot? That's an in-joke with me and Airfix. So far we've been very, very good. Okay, so as you can see, actually that looks really very, very nice. I can't see anything wrong with it. We've got good details right the way through. So if we just move into a bit of a close-up, you can see if we start over here at these engine nacelles, very nicely done indeed with all of those. And again, we've got this sort of central bay where obviously you put the formers down at each end. This is the fuel tank area down in here. And again, you've got the actual body itself. Like we were saying, there's no detail really on it. Very, very limited because it is wooden. All of this entire structure is wooden. So yeah, all the cabinet makers. I don't know if that's a tiny little bit of sink mark in here. Just see that rippling down in there. Again, I think you're going to get away with it. It's that faint. We're being picky. We're allowed. Very nice indeed. On the inside, we've got some nice details down in here, right the way through. And again, we don't have any ejector pins or anything else that's going to get in the way. So that looks all nicely done. This new way Airfix are doing the locating tabs are these donuts, as I call them. So they're in there as well, so that looks all pretty good. Inside the engines as well, we've got a little bit of formers, the actual panelling down on the inside of those as well. And then on the other side of the cockpit, some of the other details, as you can see, right the way through on there. So that's all very, very nice indeed. Beautiful. I forget how small this is. Having worked on the Tamir's big 32nd one a few years back, you're expecting it like that. Obviously, it's not. Okay, so we got the wings. Again, we're all looking pretty darn good. Some nice details on this one. if we start down on here, so we've got that sort of the strengthening spar running through the back there and on the leading edge of this, nicely rendered. We have got a few little access panels on the top here, and we've got the top one down in here in the radiator. That's all very nice as well. We've got stressed skin, and again everything's moulded in one, which looks, don't know if that's a sink mark or not. Weird, I don't know. It's close. If it's not a sink mark, I don't know what it is. Oh, actually I'll tell you what that is. We'll look at that in a minute. Okay, so we've got the top half, which is basically a mirror. The underside, as you can see, you get a little bit more detail under here. So we've got a few more access panels and things like that going down in there, landing lights, a little bit of various parts in there. Got the tail planes, which are moulded in two, but the actual control surface is in one. So I'm wondering if you could cut that and actually have it as a moving part. Well, not a moving part, but a deflected part. So these spots here is just because it's very, very close to these here. It's these ejector pins. They are proper right in there. And when you hold it up to the light, if I just do our little light test here, you can probably see, oh, perhaps it's too much light, there we go. You can probably see how close they are to coming through. There's not a lot of plastic in that. You can probably see as it works its way through. It's a bit tight. So that's what they are. So yeah, those little marks, it's them. Okay, really nice indeed. Okay, down into the small stuff. So down in here we got some of the masks we were talking about, the two-stage, the actual exhaust, the gorgeous gear. So again, if we start down in here, these are these exhausts because they're in two parts because they interlink, if you like. So that's those. Your gear, we've got some nice chunky tyres. We've got weight on wheels as well. Really nice touch there. This is the mask. He's actually written on it, mask. But again, it's nice because you've got the cutout for the actual locating tabs for the sort of actuators on the doors. So it's not like you've got to sort of make room for them or cut them off and put them on afterwards. So again, really thought about that one. And then obviously we've got the other parts down in there. And again, these are these arrows pointing it out for direction. Again, I know there'll be loads of people saying, oh yeah, but it's straightforward. It's not. We've all done it. How many times, Matthew, have you put the engines in upside down on a Buccaneer? Just saying. Okay, this will be a test to see if he ever watches these. Fuel tanks. So we've got the fuel tanks just down in here. And again, on the underside, pretty darn good. We've got no ejector pins on the insides of the doors or anything else like that. The blades are all nice. No problem. Also, I tell you what I do like as well is the way that he's put the sprue tabs up the blade. There's nothing worse when it's right down in here because it's a pain to actually clean up, but having them halfway along the blade is a lot nicer for doing cleanup, just sanding and things like that. Down on the insides, that's all looking very nice. Now I've actually got a matched pair of those, so obviously for the left and rights, so that's pretty straightforward. Okay, so down in here we've got the Bombays and the various bombs and things like that, and the racks. So this is your different racks down in here. These circles are for the back of the bombs, the actual fins. Fuel tanks, the actual ones. These are the formers, the door braces. There's your doors underneath, open and close, and there is your bombs. So again, nice to see we've got no ejector pins on the actual inside of the Bombay doors if you are having them opened. So again, very, very nice indeed. And then last up on the plastic side of it, we've got some of the smaller details, as you can see down here for the cockpit, for the panelling. We do get one pilot, which has been mentioned, and now I've seen it, I can go with it. And do you know what? He does look small. I don't know. The conversation going on at the moment on the Flory family is are Airfix's pilots getting smaller? Because they look like they've shrunk. But again, interesting, you only get one when it's a crew of two. Mosquito never flew on with one pilot as far as I'm aware. So that's that one. But anyway, all the details very nicely done in there, just like that. Pretty darn cool. Okay, so we've got the clear parts. Okay, so we've got different bomb doors here. So we've actually got the bubble on the top. So we're expecting other versions, but I think we all know that anyway. We've got the wingtips, full clear wingtips, so it's easy masking. And obviously for the various different blisters and things on there, just like that. That's all very, very nice indeed. And I have to say, it's pretty darn clear. We've got a nice sharp edge as well on the framing work, so masking should be quite straightforward. So that's very nice on that one. And that just leaves us with the decals, which again, good solid colour, good registry, no problem with that at all, looking very, very nice. So there we go. I have to say, Pramjit, you've done a great job. It looks absolutely stunning. Personally, I must admit, I'm more a fighter version of this one with all the cannons in the front end rather than the bomber. But I understand you're doing all the other versions, so we'll wait for that one to come along as well. But some really nice touches. What I think is really nice, and it's shown through with this particular build, is that Pramjit is a modeler. And then he's a designer. So he's using his knowledge from building to make it easier for us modelers. So making masks and that. I know a lot of people will be, oh, it's a gimmick. It's not a gimmick, it's actually going to work. And I think if anybody you doing it, you're going to use them. So that's really nice. And also the little helpful things about the arrows with the right way round and things like that. Because let's face it, we're all guilty of it. We all stick it in the wrong way occasionally. Then got to dig it out, clean it up, and then put it back in the right way round. So again, little touches like that, very, very nice. The gear being able to be put in completely afterwards. So once you've finished your build, then you can put the gear on and move forward without having to put it through earlier, things like that. And especially with Mosquito gear, it's notoriously very, very fiddly. So he's done a great job at sorting that one out as well. And generally, overall, looks absolutely fine. Very, very close with the actual locating pins as well for those wings. It looks like it's just about to come through, but luckily it's not. It's just incredibly close. But apart from that, I have to say, if you're a 76 World War II modeler, you're going to buy it anyway. But if you're not, it's still an absolute must.